lead this country to perdition. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but let me just hang on here. Thank you, Dele. And
thank you, sir.
Let me say hello to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us at such short notice. Thank you, sir. I would like to call someone quickly. And this time I'll be asking him a question based on the topic of this discussion. Is zoning necessary, or are we now saying zoning is no longer important? So will it be right for the North to retain power in 2023, or should they come to the South? And to help us do justice to that, I'll be asking a former presidential candidate, my good friend and brother, Professor, I think I saw him just now. Let me be sure he's still there. Yes, he's there. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, please take the floor. If we can do it within 3-4 minutes, that would be perfect, because I can see we have a long lineup here tonight. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dele. Good evening to everyone here. My very deep respects to all of you. And I thank all of us for joining this conversation. Dele, you've asked me a question that is difficult but necessary. My perspective is as follows. Leadership should ideally be decided by merit and by competition. The two are separate. You can have a competition, but it's not a competition of the meritorious. And so the leadership, quote unquote, that will come out of such a competition, which is supposedly democratic, may not be able to move the country forward. So that's why I spoke about the two. We should focus a lot now on a leadership search beyond just politics. And politics can only be a vehicle to get the right kind of transformational and visionary leadership that I think Nigeria needs going forward. Now, specifically on zoning or rotation, my personal belief, I've run for president before. When I ran in 2019, I did not run as an ethnic candidate or on the basis of any rotational argument. I ran because I felt the country was not in a good place and I felt I had something to offer. And so I humbly offered myself to Nigerians. But I was rejected. And one of the reasons I was rejected was precisely because many people were telling me that we like you very much, we would love to vote for you, but it's still, quote unquote, the turn of the North. I was told this in the North. I was told this in the West. I was told this even in the Southeast, where I happen to come from. So people's mindsets, their frame of mind was that, yes, you're a very good candidate, but the reality of Nigeria's politics is that there is this informal rotation. And so in their view, it was better to let the northern part of the country still produce the leadership at that time, whether in terms of the incumbent president or in terms of the main challenger at that time. And I was told, and everybody believed, that 2023, quote unquote, would be the turn, quote unquote, of the Southeast. And many people told me, if you come out in 2023, I'll vote for you, because that is the turn of your part of the country. I'm saying this to say that my personal belief is one thing. The reality on the ground in terms of how people think in Nigeria is another. And we all know why that reality exists. We know how President Obasanjo came to be president in 1999. We know that if it hadn't been for a conscious decision to stabilize the country with someone from the Southwest becoming the president, there was even someone from the Southeast who was elected the candidate of one of the major parties, but he stepped down in goodwill so that this consensus could go forward. So the two major candidates were from the Southwest. Now, so this is the reality. Now, when you frame a political tradition for a country, you must look at that country's peculiarities. I think Nigeria should aim for a situation in which merit reigns, and that anybody, no matter where he or she comes from, can be president and should not be set back because of where he or she comes from. But if every part of the country has enjoyed, or most parts of the country, practically every part, has enjoyed a particular dispensation, such as we started in 1999, and a very significant part of the country has not yet had that opportunity. And that part of the country is a country that we know its peculiar situation in the history of Nigeria. And we are trying to build a nation. We are trying to stabilize our country. Should that rotational practice end when it's time for that particular group to be given an opportunity? I think that's the question that people have to look at and address very honestly. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. That was very straight to the point. I would like to quickly bring Otumba Mobolaji Falashe to speak. Do you agree that power should shift to the South, or it doesn't matter where it stays in 2023? There's a lot of agitation right now in our dear country, and many people feel that for other parts of Nigeria to have a sense of belonging, power should rotate. Some people are saying, no, competence is all that matters. Please give us your opinion. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy that the two speakers before me had actually tried to explain to us a little bit of history of Nigeria. My take on this rotational political thing that we are actually looking at in Nigeria is something that I would love us to look at the countries or the country that practices rotational government. Switzerland does, and it appears that Southerners haven't actually had the opportunity to, and some parts of Nigeria hadn't actually had the opportunity to govern. I would rather support the best candidate. But how do you know the best candidate? We've chosen some in the past that have failed us. I think if we try rotational government, which we had never tried before, I think that would be something new for Nigeria, and it will help all the regions to at least say that some parts of Nigeria or all parts of Nigeria is actually covered, and not only a particular part of Nigeria governs the nation. The country that I live presently, we do have majority of the people who have actually ruled that are English people. But sometimes we've had in the past those who are not English. We've had Scottish, we've had Irish descendants, but from the particular group, we can actually vote or get the best candidate out of the region. Nigeria is a peculiar state whereby we have so many tribes. So in order to keep peace, I think a rotational government would be the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that pinpoint intervention. I would like to invite Mama Josephine and Nene to please step forward and give us your opinion about this raging controversy, zoning or no zoning. What do you think, Ma?
Good evening, distinguished personalities. Is that my?
Good evening, Ma. We can hear you, Ma.
Yeah. Good evening, distinguished personalities. I'm sorry I can't put on my video now, but you can hear my voice.
We can hear you, Ma.
Yes.
That's fine.
Thank you very much for allowing me to do that. I've listened to everybody that has spoken, and in answer to the question you've asked, what do I think about zoning or no zoning? To me, to my mind, I think that fair is fair. The problem that I have seen is that a lot of people know when it is their turn, when it affects them personally, they know where to stand. But when it doesn't, they want to bury the truth. The truth is that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If we have a convention of zoning, we should maintain it until everybody has had their turn. Then we can now decide to start speaking English about merit. Because when you now say it has to be by merit, are you insinuating that if it goes to one zone, to that zone, there will be no meritorious person from that place? So if we're talking about merit, there is no zone that has no people that can, that have the capacity or who merit to be president in this country. So for me, zoning must be completed. The round of zoning must be completed this time around. The Southeast should produce the president. Then, to the Right Honorable Galin Naba and some other people who have been speaking, they kept mentioning he has to be, he must be. Where is the she? The president of Nigeria must not be a he. It can be a she. And the world is showing you all over the world that this time it is a she. And we have meritorious, she's that have merit and capacity. Look at the latest, our Konjo Iweala. The whole world is applauding her now. It's a she. So the he's, for my mind, should just go and rest in 2023 and allow a she. You people should find out a she that can put this country right. I don't want to waste anybody's time. You ask me a direct question, I answer you. I support zoning to be completed this time around. And this time around, it should go to Southeast. And in Southeast, please, Nigerians, identify a good she and probably make Gali Nyaba the vice president.
My dear mommy, before you go away, could you help us identify one or two she's from the Southeast?
Yeah, putting me in a corner now because I didn't ask you to identify your he.
No, it's based on your recommendation.
When you were proposing his. So don't ask me, we will sit down, you will sit down, The Right Honorable knows many she's that can do it and that he can work with. So I'm proposing, the North to give us a vice president, and I can identify one already. But Southeast will give us a president, either a he or a she.
You are a seasoned politician, man, and that is why, and we don't have too many female on this platform tonight. So that's why I'm engaging you further. I'm sure you are aware that there were overtures to the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, to join APC. There has been a denial this evening that it is not true and all that. So now that you are talking about a she, so would you support, so are you saying you disqualify if a President Jonathan decides to come back? Would you support, or you will insist on a she?
I will not support President Jonathan because President Jonathan is from South, and South has had their turn. So I would definitely not support President Jonathan. And those that are flying that kite, please, we need stability in this country. There are many more important things we should be trying to solve than, stoking unnecessary ethnic, divisions. Southeast should produce. Jonathan is not from the Southeast. He had his stint and he tried his best. He did very well. Comparing what we've had in the past 6 years now or so to President Jonathan, I'm sure every Nigerian wish that President Jonathan has stayed, but that time has passed. So I don't have anything personal against President Jonathan. I'm talking about zoning, and zoning should be completed. We should go to the Southeast and get a good he or she that has the capacity. And if you go to the Southeast, let me speak Igbo, they are millionaires. That is, they are in their millions who can rule this country and rule this country very well.
Thank you very much, Mommy. Thank you. Wow, this is hot. I'll still probably come back to you later. I still have 1 or 2 questions regarding that. I would like at this stage I want to navigate between the older generation and the middle age and the younger ones. So let me invite my brother, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, to make contributions to this raging debate about zoning or no zoning. What should we expect in 2023? Good evening, my brother Chidi.
Good evening, Bob G, and my elders. Sorry, I'm doing homework with my daughter and in between things. Can I come back in about 10 minutes? Because they are preparing exams from homeschooling, please.
We understand.
I'm listening in.
I'm doing the same off and on, so that's fine. That's fine. We would let you rest for now and then come back later. Okay, I would like to invite my very good friend all the way from London, Mazi Ezeoke. If you are there, please join us and let's have your kind words regarding this debate. Mazi Ezeoke, are you there, please? I thought I saw him just now. Mazi Ezeoke.
Sorry, yes, you saw me.
Okay, please.
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, Mike. Sorry, I was a little bit off before.
Good to see you.
So thank you very much, Dele. The issue here has been discussed is very for some generationals. When we listen to Professor Patu Tomi talk, he talked about having a nation where people could decide not to be part of a particular, or have the right to decide if they want to be part of this nation. Moving forward, coming to the realities of today, the question, as you asked, Iom, is about the zoning. Now, I think in aligning with her, I would also align with my good brother, Professor Kingsley Moghalu. There is something that we must know. Question is, do we want to build a nation? If we want to build a nation that has equity and fairness, therefore, certain considerations has to be made. Someone here alluded to the fact how, I think that was Kingsley actually, alluded to the fact when concessions were made in 1999 in order to assuage the feelings of the Southwest. Ordinarily, there might be, and there are people who could, ordinarily win that election if concessions were not made. But here we are on a crossroad. The question probably that should bother us more is, before we even get to 2023, how sure are we that we will get to 2023? Shouldn't we first talk about how do we, repair the vehicle that will probably take us to 2023 before we talk about that? And I think in repairing that vehicle, which is, do we continue in this structure that we have today? Or do we have to look at the structure that we have today, make amends? There are, various permutations, there are various models that have been thrown out there. And sometimes, Dele, sometimes we ask people, they say, oh, we don't know what people mean by restructuring. I mean, sometimes it's actually laughable when you hear people say that. And, my fallback is, and that will be my conclusion is, as we say in Igbo, for those who say they don't know what that means, there are fallbacks. Some have argued 1963, some have argued even the 2014, and many of us have said, well, in 2017-18, there is one done by the APC as well. That is a good starting point. Now, my conclusion is, if we want to work together as a nation, if we want to work together and get somewhere, one should be considering equity and fairness. And on that note, aligning with Kingsley Morrell. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Dele.
Thank you, Mazi Ezeoke. It's always a pleasure to see you. I would like to invite a woman of substance, Senator Marjorie Okadigbo, to please give us views on the debate, zoning or no zoning, woman or another man. So where do we go from here? Distinguished Senator, are you there, ma'am? Yes, I think I can. It looks a bit dark on the camera. Good evening, ma'am. Hello? Ben, can you unmute her in case she's still muted? Can you please check? Good evening, Senator Okadigbo. I don't know if she's still muted. Please unmute if you can hear me, distinguished Senator. I don't know why we cannot get audio. Okay. while we are trying to fix our audio, let me quickly go and invite, yes, Chief Jonathan Ashake, can you please join us now while we wait for Senator Kadigo? Good evening, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this discussion on issues that affect our nation, especially for those events that are coming for 2023. I'm delighted to be a part of the discussion that includes so many notable Nigerians, Professor Magalu, Omeaneni, my speaker, Gali Umar Naaba, and a whole lot of others. The question before us is about zoning and 2023. It's always my belief that in the 668 local governments and the 6 area councils of this country, there is none of them that when we want a presidential material, a person qualified, man or woman, to be president of this nation, we will not have so many in every local government. So the question about merit is that we have so many people that have that merit, that thing called merit, that thing called qualification to be president of this nation and take this nation to greater heights. But what has always been the problem is that we have very weak institutions, particularly that institution which organizes the platform for election of our leaders. I'm talking about INEC. And so that institution, from one generation of leadership to the other, has continued to get weaker. And so unless we get to that point where votes will count, unless we get to that point where one vote can make one lose an election and where one vote can make one win an election, then the person that is so elected will have respect for the people that elected him, will have respect for the rule of law, will have respect for the constitution of the land. But what do we see today? People just get up, win election. They can even say a whole section of a country or a whole section of a state. They don't want to deal with that section of the state. And they still go ahead to win election. In a normal claim, they ought not to win that election. So something is essentially wrong. So what Nigerians should be calling for is to call for strengthening of our national institutions, including the police, INEC, and all such institutions. I'm talking about zoning. Now that I've talked about the weakness of our institutions for election. Now, if we allow this thing, I say we're looking for merit. Merit is everywhere in all the local governments, like I've said. But the zoning now takes care of this deficiency that we have, the weak institutions. Now, when we zone to a particular region, then we look for the persons or persons that are qualified, that have that merit, and we'll find them in
It seems it has frozen.
three.
Hello, sir. It seems we are having issues with his microphone. Hello, sir. Maybe
The
at this, yeah, it's freezing.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I'm hearing you now, sir.
Okay, so I'm saying that it is only this zoning, because of the weak nature of our institutions, it is this zoning that gives some kind of remedy, that when we zone to a particular geopolitical zone, then we look for the best hands there. We give them the opportunity to bring the best hands. And like Professor Mogolu said, yes, that is true. From 1999, it was zoned to the southwest because of the perceived injustice that was done against the southwest with the Abiola election. And so Obasanjo and Falai were the forerunners.
It seems we have issues again.
Can you hear my voice?
Okay, I can hear your voice now, sir.
Yes. Now, what I'm saying is that from 1999, we had the Southwest. And from 2007, after the 8 years of President Obasanjo, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. After the 8 years rule of Obasanjo, the game was thrown open to all Nigerians. And we all know that at that time, if it was left like that, Chief Peter Odili would have won that election because I was a delegate. I was fully involved. But because of this zoning system, President Obasanjo ensured and talked about the zoning and zoned it to the Northwest. And that produced Yaradua. Then, by this occurrence of death, Goodluck Jonathan came on board. And it was said that because of what they call gentleman arrangement, after the 4 years of Goodluck Jonathan, that he will hand over back to the North as that type of zoning arrangement. And so the people that rose against Goodluck Jonathan and voted for another candidate in another party, that is the reason that was given, that he did not obey the zoning arrangement. So we are here now. All other geopolitical zones have tested this, except the Southeast. Is it that when it comes to the Southeast that we are talking about merit? I know of notable Southeasterners that can produce, if we're talking about the president of the world, they can produce the president of the world by their quality. So I think we should not change the game midway or change the rule while the game is going on. I think zoning should stand, and the zoning to the Southeast should stand, and in fact, to correct for the weakness of INEC as it stands, that is where that zoning should stand, so that Nigeria can get to the next step that we need to get to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Before I call on the next speaker, I would like us to address another controversy. When we talk about zoning and we talk about Southeast, the Igbo nation goes beyond Southeast. It meanders into part of South-South. Even for those who believe in Biafra, South-South is on the map. So how do we deal with this? So when we talk about Southeast, are we speaking stricto sensu about the Igbo people only in the geographical expression Southeast, or does it include Igbos in other areas? This is a controversy that I think it would be nice if you can also address it tonight. I would like to invite a man I respect so much. I like to watch his every interview. According to Wikipedia, Mr. Obadiah Mailafia is a Nigerian development economist, international polymath, central banker, statesman, and the 2019 Nigeria presidential election candidate of African Democratic Congress. He's a former official of the African Development Bank Group and one-time deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria. And one of the issues I want him to address is, do you believe a third force can win an election in Nigeria? I want you to talk about the zoning, then the issue of the third force.
Hello?
Because,
can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much, sir. Ogadele Momodu. I don't think we have ever met, but I've read a lot of your works, and when I grow up, I'd like to be like you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And well, thanks so much for this opportunity and for Kennedy and the organizers of this forum. I think it's a very important one. And I really welcome this opportunity to compare notes and to share ideas. I honestly believe a third force can win. I have no doubt about it. You and I know from interacting with many young people in this country, you get the strong impression that they're really tired and they're really scared about what the future holds if we continue with these two, like they used to call the IMF and the World Bank, two terrible twins, they used to call them in Africa. The two parties are like two terrible twins that neither offers any hope for the country. And they are mostly the recycling of products that are really have passed their sell-by date. But of course, you don't win elections in the blogosphere. You don't win election in cyberspace or by whipping up, a frenzy in social media. You win elections, as John Fitzgerald Kennedy would say, in the public arena with sweat and sweat and sweat, talking to people, engaging with the public, with voters, with the youth, with women groups, with all community leaders, and bringing everyone on board into a common and a shared vision of where we want our country to go. That's the only way to do it. And it requires really, really thinking outside the box. And I don't know whether we're ready for that. We have to be ready for it. And we must be so hungry for change that we're ready to do what it takes. My dear comrades, you look at our country today, and you ask yourself, where will this country be in 10 years' time? With the same crop of people that we have, thinking in the same way, with absolutely no ideas about the demands of our 21st century digital global economy. They're not interested in that. They are just interested in what they can get here and now. It's a cash and carry, stomach infrastructure, political culture. And of course, you and I know that that ain't gonna take us nowhere. It's gonna take us into a deeper and deeper hole. And if we continue in a deeper hole with a rising population, a hungry and angry population, honestly speaking, it will spell doom for our country. And honestly speaking, I don't know about you, I don't think this is the time for politics as usual. Because what's at stake is nothing less than the future and the survival of our country. So, okay, we can just say, well, let's just bring another politician, let him come and just lie to us and, play to the gallery, do all the grandstanding. We play all our ethnic and political and religious cards and get the person, and he continues in the same way. Let me tell you, Nigeria will not survive another 20 years of this madness. What we need is a detribalized Nigerian who has a clear vision, who has the courage of a lion, who is ready to put his foot down, who is not blinded by religion or tribe, who loves the people dearly, and who is ready to stand up and be counted, and a man who has a plan. To me, it doesn't matter where this person comes from at this point in time. So really, this is my humble thoughts. I wouldn't want to say more, but we can't play politics as usual because this country will not survive another 10 years of this madness. That is the truth of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I would like to check if Senator Okadibo is back on. Please, let's bring her on immediately if she's available and her mic is working perfectly. Okay, fantastic. Good evening, ma. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. To all the distinguished personnel and persons on this platform. I have listened attentively to the different arguments on the issue of zoning or rotational presidency. And it does baffle me that we're still talking zoning and rotational presidency at this point in time. I mean, everybody has talked about fairness, talked about justice, equity, and all the fine words that we can think about. But the truth of the matter is, my question is, why is there this, I would say, a dodging thing about zoning it to the Southeast and saying in particular that this is zoned to the Southeast? Because it seems to me there's a deliberate thing on not voicing it or being specific as to this is what Nigeria needs. We've had pretty much all the zones have a go, but the Southeast is a zone if what we go with the Nigerian setup. We say Nigeria has 6 zones, but the Southeast is one zone, and every time it comes up, I think, Chief Momodu, you did say something about Southeast and South-South being one. I don't think that is the case here because there's 6 zones in Nigeria and specified 6 zones. Southeast is a standalone and should be treated as such. So until that is done, I'm not sure Nigeria is really ready for the healing. And that is where I want to stop for now. Listen to others continue on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. What I said was that there are people who have argued that the Igbo nation dovetails into part of South-South. Not that I was saying Southeast is part of South-South. Thank you, ma.
Well, let me quickly say something here. I'm glad you corrected that. And you did say that some people argue. And that's where I'm saying that those people who argue do not argue right. Because Nigeria specifically is into 6 geopolitical zones. And let us treat the Southeast as a standalone zone, which it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Yes, I would like to invite Professor Femi Olufumilade, Director, Center for Contemporary Security Affairs at Grenadier University, to please speak to us. I'll be very delighted if you talk to the issue of zoning as well as restructuring, because maybe you'll be able to elucidate for us on the issue of restructuring. Because when people talk about restructuring these days, you can have as many varied opinions as possible. So, Prof, if you are there, okay. Good to see you, Prof. Please unmute, sir. If you can hear me, please unmute your mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Thank you, Shivdele Mamadou, for this opportunity to be part of this enlightening discourse. First and foremost, let me introduce myself by saying that I was one of the pioneer members of the ruling APC. I belong to what I would call the intellectual wing of the party. And restructuring was the core manifesto element of the party, among other social welfareist programs that were, crafted into the manifesto. And the restructuring was not crafted as a regional agenda. Even though I'm a Yoruba person and some of the moving spirit of the proposal were from the Southwest. But we just felt that the federal government and its apparatus of state have taken more than it can chew. And that is why we have a lot of inefficiency. And there was need for some form of unbundling and devolution of power so that we can have better service delivery at various levels of government. It wasn't meant to, undermine any section of the country or reduce their power. We never look at it from that perspective. Having made that clarification, I can also tell you that this is, we're into the 6th year of the APC administration, and it doesn't appear that we're going to have anything called restructuring too soon. Aside the fact that the president of the country, who happens to be the leader of the APC, is not interested, apparently, in the restructuring agenda, the constitutional procedures required to push through some of the elements of this restructuring proposal is quite cumbersome. You require 2/3 majority in the 2-chamber legislature in Abuja, as well as 2/3 approval of the various state house of assemblies across the country. And in a situation where the northern part of the country, especially the conservative north, believes that restructuring is an attempt to whittle down their influence politically, economically. Their attitude to the issue has been so unwelcoming. And without that meeting of minds, that consensus that this is good for all of us, we are not likely going to have anything called restructuring. anytime soon. And that dovetails into the issue of 2023 presidency. Now, for some of us, politics is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. I teach in a university and I hold certain values there. And I know what I teach my students over the years. I am not in politics because I'm hungry or because I want to amass billions. Even now, I don't know what major difference billions will make to my existence. Is it in terms of the food I eat or the type of dress I wear or where I live or the, volume of travels I make around the world? I travel a lot already. So I don't know what tangible difference it will make. But the reality on the ground is that this same caliber of people that have been in power since 1999, when we returned to this Fourth Republic, are the ones that are still calling the shots. And their orientation for itself in terms of where we find ourselves today as a nation. They are not going to change anytime soon. And they are getting a lot more powerful. And I will explain that. I've come to the conclusion that poverty, and whenever I have the time, I think I would need to write a book on that. Poverty as an instrument of governance. The Nigerian ruling elites, whether in the north or south, have effectively mastered the use of poverty to entrench and perpetuate themselves in power. That is why when in an election that you think will go this way, it goes the other way. Overnight, all they do is share money. People will be on the queue. I've been there where I see them sharing money. So that is what is going to happen in 2023. The rate at which things are going. So don't expect any magic. And the volume of money we are talking about, you and I don't have it. Showore doesn't have it. Dr. Obadiah Melafia doesn't have it. Dele Momodu, I don't think he has it, except he's hiding it. So that kind of money is only those who are in government and are stealing from the our common patrimony that can afford to dole the money out, because we are talking of billions. So to that extent, and the people are waiting. Osita Shidoka said something that I found that anytime I remember it, I laugh a lot. When he attempted to contest for the governorship of Anambra State, he said there was one boy who commented to him that, Oga, we've seen your manifesto. In fact, of all these people saying they want to be governor, yours is the best. You have a vision, you have a plan for Anambra State. But by the way, Party A, this is what their candidate is offering, throwing around to individual voters. Party B, this is what their candidate is offering. How much is yours, no matter how small? What are you offering? That is the orientation of our voters. And we are talking of millions of people. So that is the problem. That is the major challenge confronting us. Now, talking of while the Southwest may be crying more about restructuring, the caliber of politicians that dominate the scene in the Southwest are just the same thing, essentially, with these other politicians in other parts of the country. And they are not going to change overnight. So restructuring or anything ideological is not on the table at all. It's just crude contest for power and the benefits that go with it, which includes majorly looting directly from the treasury, allocating and reallocating oil blocks, giving license to run ports or withdrawing the license from one person and giving it to the other. It's just politics of spoils politics. So for us, so don't the issue of restructuring doesn't come in. They may just make it a campaign rhetoric, but it doesn't go beyond that. So the hope of a change then lies not in the present crop of politicians, but in those that truly have the kind of attributes that Dr. Obadiah Melafia just painted. He painted the attributes eloquently, and I was just saying amen, because those attributes, those who have them, we have them in abundant number in Nigeria. But for them to come into politics and have an impact is going to be a Herculean task. So the way forward is for those of us that love this country to start to roll up our sleeves and begin to work hard and locate ourselves wherever we are, because the time ahead is too short, just about 2 years plus from now. And those who are going to hold us hostage going forward, they are already meeting. They are not even sleeping from across the country. They are crisscrossing from one party to the other because the price is high, and that is Nigeria's treasury, from Abuja to the various states and local governments. So if we are the only hope, except we get to a point where, as we are careening into chaos now, maybe if this chaos is, we allow it to really bubble, to burst as a bubble, maybe something new will come out of the ashes, of the chaos. But if we want a peaceful change, then some of us have got to be more selfless, be ready to make more sacrifice, be ready to show humility and differ to one another, and locate ourselves across the length and breadth of the country and see how we can get help. The greatest assets we have, these politicians don't have. Some of us have our brains. We can analyze things clearly, and we have credibility. So that is that. That is just what I would like to say.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for that very powerful delivery. You mentioned something about money politics. I don't think there is no candidate in the world who can fully fund a campaign, not even Donald Trump. You would still have to, in Nigeria, before you can get campaign funding or donations, the owners of the country, I once heard that phrase around 1998, 99, and I want us to talk about it very quickly. I was supporting Chief Olufalaye against Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, and I had suggested to Chief Falaye that we should get Dr. Rilwan Lukman, who was at OPEC at the time, to be his running mate. And he said, okay, how do we get him? I said, I'll volunteer to go. And I traveled to Vienna to talk to Dr. Rilwan Lukman, now of blessed memory. And that was the night he told me some people are the owners of Nigeria and that they've decided on President Olusegun Obasanjo. I said, are we not going to vote? Or how can the owners of Nigeria just tell us it's Obasanjo? He said, well, I'll soon find out. And I should thank Chief Olufalaye for considering him as running mate, but he's not interested. And true to his prediction, the owners of Nigeria made sure that President Obasanjo, that Chief Obasanjo became the president of Nigeria. So the issue of the owners of Nigeria, a Nigerian mafia, and godfatherism. On this note, I would like to invite Dr. Godson Azu. Before him, I would like to invite Dr. Nwachukwu Anankweze, who is the president of Igbo World Congress, highly celebrated medical doctor based in California. Please, I want you to speak to us now. Thank you, sir. Is Dr. Nwachukwu Anankweze there now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, how are you, sir?
Oh, not bad.
It must be afternoon in California. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy to hear everybody speaking and saying what the idea is. I'm Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwinze. I'm a medical doctor here in California. I'm the chairman of Igbo World Assembly. I represent all the Igbos in 57 diaspora countries. So I will speak generally, then I might answer some of the questions you asked.
Yes, sir.
We as Igbo believe in true democracy and freedom, which we want ourselves and others in Nigeria as a whole and Africa. Our history shows Igbo have always stood for democracy and fair play for all. We believe and promote religious. We do not believe in religious and based politics. We want Nigeria where the majority right is balanced with the minority right. We want Nigeria where the various ethnic groups feel they have a stake and sense of belonging. We envision a Nigeria where leadership is based on hard work, fairness, where fairness reigns, sense of direction, accountability for all the groups, and for the common good of Nigeria. We envision a Nigeria where people can vote, have been voted for everywhere. We want presidential power, a presidency from Southeast on the Igbo will be more willing than any part of Nigeria to share power, share position with other ethnic nationalities. All we want is our fair share and not more. We can do this more than any other group in Nigeria. Then Igbo man, we don't want to be gathering all the powers, all the army, navy, air force. We don't need it. Just our share is fine, and other people can have their own share. We believe that all the different people in Nigeria have particular abilities and skills that if brought together, we will be a formidable force in the world. We should have been like a country like India or Singapore by now, but what's keeping us down is poor leadership. God gave us everything in Nigeria except good leaders. God gave us water, river, fish, cassava, cocoyam, everything. Look at many countries in the world have a desert like Afghanistan, or even Saudi Arabia. They can't plant anything. God gave us that. God kept us from having hurricane, tornado, massive flood, hurricane. We don't have it. We don't have earthquake. The only thing we don't have is good leaders. Nigerians are very capable from all the ethnic groups. Here in America, Igbos, Yorubas, and a lot of ethnic groups, they are doing excellent at the top in America. Here, not at the bottom, not catching up. Our Nigerian people are, at least every Nigerian here have at least a master's degree. We can compete in all the schools, in everything. The only thing keeping us down is ourselves. So we need to find a way of living together. God put us together for some reason. If we can put it together, I think nobody can stop us. In my opinion, if Zika and Awolowo were able to work out their differences, we will be one of the top countries in the world because we have the people who are doing it. So presidency, all parts of Nigeria have produced presidents, except for Southeast, for the good of all Nigerians. We need to have power rotate. We need to be our brother's keepers. For the good of Nigeria, we believe in our geometric interest that we need to put Nigeria together for the good of all Nigerians by having power rotate from one group to the other. The Southeast zone have never tasted presidency and it should move to the front. After that, then maybe we can have another system. And that answers your question about rotation. You talked about presidencies Igbo in the south, Igbo in the southeast. You have that with the Yoruba people. You have Yoruba people in Kwara. You have Yoruba people in part of Kogi. It's the same thing. Yorubas have tasted power in south. So it also applies to Kwara. It also applies to Kogi. So we're talking about zone. We need to zone. We have 6 zones. We need to move power to zone, not about Igbo people, but about the region and the zone. You talked about restructuring. We think restructuring will be good for Nigeria, based on true federalism, based on region and zone. The politicals, we need a Nigerian political structure that is based on equity, fairness, and balance and access. We feel that on the long run, through federalism, and will help everybody, all the groups will develop at their own pace. If you think education is best, you do that. If you think business is best, you do that. You build what your people want. You don't feel limited. So true federalism, federalism is what we want for Nigeria. It will help everybody grow at their own pace. I will stop here for now, but I answered 2 of your questions.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was very, very good. Thank you so much. I will now call on Dr. Nana Igwe, a top UK-based medical doctor, to please speak to us. He's had his career at the prestigious Imperial College. He's the president of Ohaneze Indigo UK. Please, it would be nice if we can have him speak to us now. Thank you so much. Dr. Nana Igwe, is he ready now, please? If you can unmute him, if he's ready. Dr. Nana Igwe, if he's not ready, then just a minute. Let's go back quickly to my prof, Chidi Odinkalu. Is Chidi ready now, please?
I'm ready. Hello.
Okay, please.
Dr. Igwe
Yes.
is ready.
Oh, okay. Dr. Igwe, okay, let's have you, and then we'll come back to my brother Chidi. Good evening, sir.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, Dele Mamadou.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Comrade Yere. I want to thank all the organizers and all the people who are attending this dialogue. It is a high time that Nigerians come together in the true spirit of oneness, the true spirit of understanding, the true spirit of trying to find a lasting solution to the problems of Nigeria. One, we believe that the basis of true development and advancement in many countries is one, fairness, equity, and justice. When people come together and allow merit and fairness and justice to be the basis on which the country is governed, that is when development comes. That is when true greatness is achieved. And that is when everybody is happy and they will be able to perform truly in the best interest. They show patriotism. Patriotism is best at that time. For instance, if you come to the advanced countries, You hear of the American dream. What that means is that every American has the capacity to achieve the best. If you come to UK, you hear of a UK dream. Even as an immigrant, regardless of all the dichotomies, you have the capacity to get to where you want to get to. You will not be limited by race or color or other things. In Nigeria, it is not like that. You just talked about the owners of the country. What we're saying is that the southeast of Nigeria should, in 2023, be given the inalienable right to produce the presidency of Nigeria. The reason why we are saying that is that from independence, Nigeria has produced the different countries. Nigeria stood on the tripod of the Igbos, the Hausas, and the Yorubas. This was the tripod. And these other two, we were standing on 3 legs. And since that time, it's only 2 legs we've been using to trying to stand. And that is why we have been unbalanced. We need to stand on our 3 legs that we had at independence. In other words, this is what people also talk about when they talk about restructuring. It is going back to our root, going back to the true independent agreement that we signed, whereby there was equity, there was justice, and there was fair play, and allow rule of law to be the basis of our existence. We shouldn't have the owners of the country, especially when the owners are promoting bigotry, promoting favoritism, they're promoting mediocrity, and they're promoting injustice in all spheres of our existence. And therefore, time has come in 2023 for Nigeria to the first time get it right. The basis of the agitations going on in the country, ranging from the Boko Haram, the headsmen crisis, to the EndSARS protests, to the killings, to the deprivation that is going on, to the unemployment, decadence of infrastructure, education, health. Nothing is working in Nigeria. The basis is because the people, so-called owners of Nigeria, are clueless and they do not care about the progress and indivisibility, the survival of Nigeria. Let me say it very loud and clear. It is the owners of the country that are responsible for the decadence of the country. And it's time for us to change. The Igbos have things that are unique. In fact, every Nigerian part, regions, we have things that are unique that, can help the country. What we are saying is that what is good for the geese is good for the gander. The Southeast are vibrant people. We are the people, we are very well educated. We're the business people, we're the business gurus. We have something special. Let Nigeria give us that chance to give Nigeria what is special in us. And I believe that we will be able to advance the country. We will be able to take the country to a different height. I wish to use this opportunity for Nigeria to celebrate Dr. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, who on her own and on merit stood out and contested for the World Trade Organization's Director General. Regardless of the shenanigans of different people, including Mr. Trump, but the world saw in her the capacity, the capability, and her aptitude, and said, no, this woman, you will take this job. This is what we should be celebrating, our best, and we have our best in all spheres. So my brothers and sisters in this dialogue, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me. But I believe that doing things right, allowing the right principles to govern, to be the basis of governance in Nigeria, that is the only way we can stop all these voices of dissent, of people wanting to leave Nigeria. The earlier we realize that, the better for all Nigerians. I want to thank you all once again for the opportunity given me. And I believe that definitely in 2023, that Southeast producing the presidency of Nigeria is a sine qua non. There is no going back. Anyone, whether you like it or not, please, please, we are begging, give the Igbos a chance, Southeast of Nigeria. You will not regret it, Nigerians. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Dr. Nana Igwe, thank you for speaking to us. I would like to call on Prof. Chidi Odinkalu. But before he speaks, I would like to just chip in something that I don't personally believe that the Igbo people of Nigeria need to beg to serve Nigeria. It's well deserved. But politics is a game of number. And I'd like to give the example of Buhari himself. I don't think there will be any northerner in a long time to come who will be as popular as Buhari in terms of cult followership. Yet he contested 3 times and he couldn't win the election. What it means is that in terms of mathematics, you must win at least 4 solid states out of the 6, 4 solid regions out of 6 before you can become the president of Nigeria. So don't you think that the Igbo will need to lock down the entire South and try to lock down maybe the North Central and pick bits and pieces from Northeast and Northwest, and they will coast home to victory, instead of people thinking that maybe, they have to give it to us specially? I think it can be done if you work with others. And I know of groups that are saying, look, the Igbos must now begin to work with the rest of the South, lock down the entire South, get your North Central, and then you'll be home. You'll coast home to victory. So, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, what do you think? Is Prof there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, thank you, my brother.
Thank you ever so much. It's good to see you again, and my apologies and gratitude for the forbearance. I've tried to audit as much of the conversation as I could in between a few things. And it looks to me as if there are multiple conversations taking place. Let me take off, Bobby, from where you stopped. And where my brother Nana also was on some of the points Nana made. Politics is the art of the possible. And I totally subscribe to the idea that nobody should be begging to be given the presidency. To begin with, the only crazy people aspire to be presidents. The presidency is a terrible job. And nobody should beg to do it. That's my view. So anybody who wants to do it has got to have a plan and got to have a constituency, but it's also a competition, and I tend to agree it's not a donation. Nobody's given, nobody's going to say, oh, you give me the job because it's my turn. I have the most equitable case for assuming the presidency. I'm not one of those who says Nigeria was a tripod of Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. That is fallacy. That was an Igbo creation. Nigeria had very substantial minorities, as they were called. And the case of the minorities began well before independence. The Willing Commission only buried it. And then they whipped it up at the beginning of the Civil War in order to create the 3 states out of what was then the Eastern region. Of course, you can go back and look at the history of the creation of the Midwest region and how that came about as a project to contain Awolowo and the Action Group. So I'm not into that tripod tendency. In any case, Nigeria has evolved from the 1959 elections. In 1959, the NPC did not field any candidate in the South before marching to take power in Lagos. Nobody can do that now. And so we've got to rise beyond our comfort levels. I accept all of these as given. That said, it's also the case that we're probably having a multiple geometry conversation, a variable geometry conversation here. And if you only need to look at the chart box here to see that there are different understandings to this conversation. So let me say three things, therefore. Number one, we're having this zoning conversation because we failed to create a